Before we start, I would like to address some recent allegations that I am a nerd. Not only are these rumors scandalous, they are completely, patently untrue. Hello Hoppers, and welcome back to Ellie. I know it's been a little bit of time since my last video, sorry about that. It's been a little bit more than a week, probably more like 10 or 11 days by the time you see this, I'm not really sure. But as I mentioned at the end of my last full video, so not including this whatever that was, I did have the new version of the top actually printed, but I didn't actually show you it put together. I skipped on filming actually transferring the motherboard from one box to another. It wasn't that interesting. It just was unscrewing one thing and screwing in another. But I will show off some other things and show what she looks like now, because now with the new lid, even though there's not an actual real lid or top on the case, she is fully functional and fully useful now, because I do have it all solidified and holding itself together, which is awesome. Like I'm actually able to take it to work and use it, and it even was able to be used during class by one of my students when it turned out we were missing a laptop for the day. So awesome. And it's even more useful than it was in the actual real case, because it has the built-in screen right there, and I haven't had a need to actually plug it into anything, and it's been great. So I don't have footage of what it actually looked like when I was putting all of the stuff into the top part, but it's all pretty standard looking, and not all that interesting. So what you're seeing here is what I was trying to figure out of how to hold it all together. I was thinking about getting some metal strips like I just showed you, and cutting them up manually and drilling holes into them, but I found this right here when I looked a little bit closer. So I ended up using little braces and brackets just like this. They kind of look like erector set pieces, actually. I keep messing with the spare ones. And just some standard screws, bolts, and washers to hold it all together. And I didn't have pre-made holes in my 3D print for this, because I hadn't yet decided how to hold everything together. I was thinking glue before, but because everything ended up a little bit uneven, I ended up actually using that same Dremel that you saw me fail to use last time to drill little holes in it. So here I am just screwing in a few different little pieces. And you can see here I wasn't all that particular about it, just, you know, setting it up and marking the holes where I needed to with something that would show up on this black plastic, and using a new bit that I bought, at Lowe's to actually drill out all the holes and everything. And the construction was pretty standard from there. And yes, I do know that needle nose pliers were not the actual correct tool for that job, but they were the closest thing on hand. Now you'll see here I actually ended up running out of pieces before I got everything as well attached as I wanted. So I went back to Lowe's, got a few more parts. You just saw a couple plates like that, as well as aluminum strips, some more nuts and bolts, well, not the screws and bolts, sorry, aluminum rods for a very specific purpose, actually, to help hold everything together. And that's pretty much it, just some more of the same. It is weird though, my second trip to Lowe's, when I was just getting replacement parts, ended up costing me like twice as much as my first trip. That was interesting. And yes, what you're seeing here is me screwing something directly into the front. It does look slightly more Frankenstein-y because of that, but I think it's alright. And this is just a little bit of tiny amount of reinforcement. I don't think this actually adds anything to it, but it looks like a thing, so I did it. I put a little tiny strip of aluminum on the back here to just help do anything to help reinforce this. It doesn't really need any help, but I just wanted to do everything possible to make sure that the plastic never separates from itself. So using E6000 glue and a strip of metal just to, you know, make it a slightly more secure, and hold together even stronger. So once that's, you know, wiped off and everything, it looks really shiny and nice. And before I hand you off from me to the past, here's a couple shots of what it looks like just when it's running. There is no lid yet, obviously, but here it is at work. I was actually, well, not in this shot, but I was using it for work at some point. And there it is with the lights off and on. Alright, so I'm going to try to keep this part to a minimum because I know how echoey this room is and how horrible the audio is from it. But Ellie has clearly changed for the better since last time. There is a lot going on here that was not last time. So I've replaced the top, the prototype top with the permanent top now. The sides, or the base, while I'm still not sure on it, is now bolted together and everything at least. So the entirety, let me set this down, the entirety of Ellie is now actually really quite solid. Since it's running right now, I don't really want to shake it or anything just in case I gunk up a fan or something or anything. But it's all holding itself together. I'm just kind of letting it sit here. And it's working really well. You can see up behind me, I've got Grow Home running. Looks like it's night has fallen at this point. Yeah, she's working great. So she looks great in the dark and everything. Sure you can see on the sides here. I'll show you up close right here. The sides have a bit of bolt action going on. Bolt action, that sounds like it's a gun or something. Anyway, the sides have been all screwed on and everything with little plates on the inside. You can see one right here. I'll probably be showing you B-roll in just a second of what that looked like during process, but it's still a bit messy right here with the actual board for the screen. I haven't figured out a great place for it yet, so that's all running that screen right there. I've switched them around just for this video. The LCD that's running back there is the primary screen for this video, just so you can see its game performance and everything. The parts of it are still a bit ooky looking. I have added a few other things like the metal strips and a little very, very small zip ties just to help hold it all together, but she's looking rather pretty, I'd say. Got a little bit of a Frankenstein thing going on the front, but I am quite happy with how she looks. Not done yet, don't have a lid. I do have some aluminum rods in place to help, wow, I completely missed that just there. I do have some aluminum rods in place to just help with putting it all together. There are some, if you see really closely right here, that are helping hold the entire top on at the moment. Oh, focus up close. These are actually going right down into the bottom. So you might be able to tell right in between there, because I still do have a gap I haven't been able to master yet. Master the gap. What does that even mean? But anyway, so that it can take lateral forces much better now. It's not going to slide off or anything. It's actually holding itself together. I didn't have any worries about this in my car, just kind of sitting there today. The only problem I had plugging it in earlier was one of these little wires on the CPU fan actually hit the CPU and made a noise, and all the kids thought that my computer was going to explode, of course, all the kids in that class. I've still got a lot of the ports plugged up with rubber and everything, and I did have to slightly shave down the plastic right here just to make space for this very fat HDMI cable to go into that screen up there. But yeah, there's not really much to say. I know that you know what all the parts are and everything, so we're getting very close to the final video of this. It might be a little while before I have a chance to just make the lid for it, because I am not going to use that terrible 4-piece one that I have from last time. I also might actually hope during this video, well, you'll see in about 5 seconds if I do it or not, but I'm thinking about using a blow dryer I have with me to try and heat up this side right here and even it out, because even with the metal brackets on the inside, I can't get this piece right here to be straight. There's a pretty significant bump right there that might be hindering the top from going on, but since it's all working so well right now, I'm not really sure I want to do that. I can try to show you the bottom, but I did also want to show you just a little bit of the gaming performance, because there is a little bit of a heat island in here. Actually, you know what? Now that the fans have warmed up and everything, it's pretty cool in there, even though it's running a game. So I'm going to say, let's flip this around and see what it all looks like. This, of course, being the camera that has already fallen on the ground multiple times. I love breaking it further. Feels great. Alright, so this is obviously not my normal recording setup whatsoever, but, and this is obviously not the most intensive game, but I just wanted to test a couple that I've already installed on this computer, just to see how they run. And keep in mind, this is supporting a 1080p screen up there at 60 hertz and an 800p screen right here at 60 hertz. And it's going pretty well, honestly, pretty smoothly. It's at maximum settings and everything. I know Grow Home is not exactly what you'd call intense by any means, but it is adorable and very colorful, and that's why I wanted to show it off, because it's great at showing off this little screen, which is what I did with it earlier. Come on, turn on. Oh, I don't have a fall flower. Whoops! Oh yeah, that's right, I used it up earlier. Looks like I'm going to fall to my death, so in the meantime, let's switch over to another game. Yeah, so cat out of the bag here. I know that some of you may have already noticed this and noticed that I had both screens filled for a reason here, but Windows has decided it's not genuine, which in this case it actually isn't, but that's only because half of my Windows genuine keys aren't working, and I can't figure out for the life of me why. Just gonna adjust this camera while I talk, which is like the worst thing to do, but yeah, so I won't be able to upgrade this to Windows 10 until, oh, now I've adjusted it too far. So I won't be able to upgrade this to Windows 10 until I get that sorted out. But as we all know, that can be problematic to fix. Let's see. I'm going to check and see what else I have downloaded at the moment. Looks like I have Contraption Maker, Dirty Bomb, Grow Home, Kerbal Space Program, Octodad, the Portal Stories Mel, and Rocket League. So let's go ahead and update Rocket League and see how that works. For good measure, I'm going to put Fraps on the screen. Let me download it real fast. Alright, Ixnay on that. Looks like to play Rocket League, I'll have to download a 677 megabyte patch. And right now it's saying 10, 13, 16 hours. It keeps going up. Internet connection at work is awful. We have the most expensive package available from AT&T, and I think it's 8 down, 3 up, or 5 up or something, and clearly it doesn't actually usually meet that problem. Oh wow, it looks like Steam is even deciding there's an error with it. Yeah, so I'm going to try the other games I have fully installed and get back to you. Can't find an angle where glare's not a problem. First world problems with lighting. Glare, 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 glare. See, the problem is if I turn the lights off, then there won't be a light on me anymore. I could get some of the light boxes in here, but I prefer not to. Wow, that's pretty cool. Haha! This is not a good angle. Guess you'll have to stay there. Look at my fat rolls. Oh, you know what? I'm dumb. I thought I had it open, but I didn't. Let's see. Let's change you. At least we can make it so that you can see the screen. How about that? Yeah. There we go. Now you can see the screen and not me. Yeah, that is the point, yeah. So there's not a lot that's actually intense going on this computer. So I'm going to load the most intense program or game I have installed at the moment. Only because downloading any more will take ages, so I'll download it at home for the next video or the next part of this video, depending on what happens. I don't even know if I've actually loaded this up before. Right now I'm getting great frame rate. Can you see that? So I'm going to go into the settings and make sure that VSync is turned off on this game, because otherwise there's no point. Okay, it looks like I have played it on this computer before, just to test it probably. I'm going to go straight in. Oh, I blew something off last time. Never mind, I'll go do other things. So what I'm going to do here is I'm not doing any true benchmarks right now. I'm just going to open up one of the default stock ships and launch it and just see what my frame rate does. Let's just load the Kerbal X. That sounds the easiest to me. Yeah, that looks about right. Yeah, this is one of the big ones. So right here before we launch, it's hovering around 150 FPS at 1080p at default settings. Don't know what default settings really means, but that's where we're sitting. So let's go ahead and turn on my RCS and my, oh, what's the button for that? Yeah, there we go. Okay, got all my automatic stabilizers turned on, and hopefully I should just be able to launch this. Woo, give it more thrust. There we go. Okay, So it looks like at default settings at 1080, driving 2 screens, it's getting 60, 70, yeah, it's hovering in the 70s for frame rate. It always dips a little bit right at the beginning there. Oh, that's right. I've forgotten how to play this. It's been so long. I've never really made a video on this other than my first one on the demo. I got pretty good at this for a while. I don't know if you caught that one clip at the end of Besiege. Anyway, I don't want this to turn into a gaming commentary. So hopefully, oops, gotta go on, jettison, jettison. There we go, jettison. There we go. That's much better. Okay. I wasn't even paying attention. Alright, so looks like it's all working well. I'm going to see what happens if I crash it. Let's just try to get this flipped over. Let me turn off my stabilizers. Alright, I've set a collision course back for the ground just to see what happens with the frame rate when it crashes, because that's the biggest killer of frame rate in this game. I know it's much more CPU intensive than GPU intensive anyway, but I do have very poor cooling for the CPU right now. I just want to see what happens. The lowest I saw a 31 for a very split second there, maybe not even a full second worth of 31 FPS, and now it's up to 103. So not terrible, and it's not even hot feeling in there. So that's pretty good. Yeah. So until I get the lid on, there's not much more to update you guys on other than showing you some beauty shots of it, which I hopefully have been showing you all along and probably right now. Until next time, then I hope that you like where it's headed, or where it's gone. I've been using a very generic PS2 keyboard, PS2 as in the port, not the console, and a very generic mouse I commandeered from work. I am at work right now for this video, but yeah, it's cooling itself really well with the feet. There's no hot air coming out of the power supply at all. The bolts are all holding it really well together. The stickers are looking fabulous as well. Let's get a close-up on those. Probably have already seen them in some other up-close shots, but, you know, what the hey. Look at those. Oh, let's get this out of the way. Oh, so pretty. And overall, it's performing really well. I really want to get this gap down, even though it actually looks intentional. I just kind of want to deal with it. But as far as being a functional case and everything, it is hitting all the marks now. I have no issue carrying it around, putting it wherever I need it to be, and all that's left to do is put the lid on and give it a power button, because it still doesn't have one and I still have to jam a piece of metal in there to get it to turn on every single time. Other than that, I hope that you enjoyed this video, hoppers, and I'll see you next time. Hasta Ventana. She looks like a little kid. I just realized that if I zoomed in. Nerd! Yeah, yeah. For real. Just getting B-roll. Hi there! Come on! Before we start, actually, speaking from the future, just a little bit here. I just wanted to clarify. I said that it was, wow, that looks really crazy on the screen. I said that the game was running at default settings, and I actually don't know that if these are default or not, because I do have rendering quality set to fantastic. Textures are full res. And I have certain things ticked all the way up and enabled and all that. The only thing that seems to still be at default is the terrain detail and the scatter density. And, well, actually, terrain scatters are disabled anyway. And maybe the anti-aliasing and the pixel count and shadow cascades, but some things I have clearly ramped up before, since I didn't realize at the time that I had already played on this computer. I didn't think that I had changed settings from default. So I think these have been amped up slightly, but probably not that much. You stop that!